Have you ever wondered who the Antichrist really is? I mean, really, not just what you've heard in movies or from doomsday preachers, but from the ancient pages of Scripture itself. Most people think he'll be some powerful world leader or a ruthless politician who rises in a time of chaos. And maybe they're right. But I want to share something today that most people miss. Not because it's hidden, but because it's been right in front of us the whole time. Brief pause. Nature's sounds swell softly. What if the Antichrist isn't just a villain? What if he's a counterfeit, a master imitator? What if he copies Jesus, not to honor him, but to replace him? A twisted reflection of the true Messiah. Chapter 1. The Vision of Two Kings, 130 to 330. Over 500 years before Jesus was born, a man named Daniel had a dream. No, a vision. A terrifying one. He saw four beasts rising from a stormy sea. A lion with wings. A bear devouring flesh. A leopard with four heads. And then a fourth beast, different from the rest. More dreadful, with iron teeth and 10 horns. But among those horns came a smaller one, a little horn, and it began to speak. Blasphemies, arrogance, and Daniel was terrified. Pause, lower music, add subtle fire crackling sound, asterisk, asterisk. But then something else appeared. A throne, fiery wheels, rivers of flame, and on that throne, the Ancient of Days, God himself, and to him came one like a son of man, riding the clouds, and he was given dominion, glory, a kingdom that would never pass away. Soft pause, breath, music swell, and that son of man is Jesus. But did you catch it? In the same vision, we see both Jesus and the Antichrist, both center stage, two kings, two kingdoms, two destinies. Chapter 2, the devil's deal, 3:30 to 6 o'clock. Fast forward hundreds of years. Jesus walks into the wilderness, alone, for 40 days. He fasts, no food, no water, and then Satan shows up. If you're really the Son of God, asterisk, he whispers, command these stones to become bread. Jesus refuses. Then Satan dares him to jump from the temple, to test God's protection. Again, Jesus says no. And finally, the third temptation. Dramatic pause, lower voice slightly. Bow down to me, and I'll give you all the kingdoms of the world. Power, control, glory. And Jesus says no. Away from me, Satan. It is written, worship the Lord your God, and serve him only. Asterisk. But that offer, it never went away, because in the book of Revelation, we see Satan try it again. Ominous, darker ambient music begins softly underneath. This time, the Antichrist rises from the sea, and Satan is waiting. He offers the same deal, and this time, someone says yes. Revelation says the dragon, that's Satan, gives his throne, his power, and his authority to the beast. And the world? They watch in awe. Scroll chapter 3, the covenant clash, 6 to 8 o'clock. Before Jesus went to the cross, he lifted a cup and said, this is the new covenant in my blood poured out for you. Asterisk, a sacred promise, eternal, built on love, forgiveness, and grace. But Daniel says the Antichrist will also make a covenant, not eternal, but temporary, 7 years. And halfway through, he breaks it. He storms into the temple of God and declares himself to be God. Pause, deep breath moment. One covenant is sealed with mercy, the other with manipulation. One leads to freedom, the other to deception. Chapter 4, Signs and Wonders, 8 to 10 o'clock, Jesus healed the sick, gave sight to the blind, walked on water, calmed storms. His power came from above. But the Antichrist? Revelation says he'll perform great signs too, even calling fire from heaven. And the world will say, "Who is like the beast? Who can wage war against him?" Asterisk. You see, not every miracle comes from God. Some are meant to deceive. Candle chapter 5, the resurrection, copied asterisk 10 to 1300 hours. Now listen closely. This may be the most sobering part of all. Jesus died on a cross, buried in a tomb, and 3 days later, he rose again, quietly, humbly. No cameras, no grand announcement. His first appearance was to a woman in a garden, and even then, she barely recognized him. Pause, soft, hopeful music enters again. But the resurrection changed everything. Without it, we'd have no faith, no forgiveness, no hope. But here's the shocking twist. Revelation says the beast, the Antichrist, suffers a fatal wound and then lives. A false resurrection. Not quiet, not humble, but loud, public, and deceiving the entire world. The true Christ rose in peace. The false Christ rises in spectacle. Chapter 6, The World's Choice, 13 to 1500 hours. Jesus came to his people, and they rejected him. He was mocked, beaten, crucified. But the Antichrist, he's embraced, celebrated, worshipped. Isn't that heartbreaking? We reject the quiet truth and chase after the loudest lie, because lies often come wrapped in lights and applause, and truth comes in silence. Shield chapter 7, the final battle, 15 to 1700 hours. But friends, evil never gets the last word, because after 3.5 years of darkness, the sky will open, and the King of Kings will return. Jesus, not as a suffering servant, but as a victorious warrior, with fire in his eyes and a sword in his mouth. The beast and the false prophet thrown alive into the lake of fire. Evil will be judged, and Jesus will reign forever, and those who are his will reign with him. Sunrise closing, the invitation 17 to 1800 hours. So I ask you, why chase the counterfeit when you can follow the original? Why fear the Antichrist when the true Christ already won? If you want to prepare for the end, don't just study prophecy. Pursue the Prince of Peace. Read his words, talk with him in prayer, and walk closely day by day. Because the best way to recognize a lie is to know the truth intimately. And his name is Jesus.